new things and improvements that happened over the years. So if you haven't checked it out in the recent time, that's probably a good idea to do that. Well, I can introduce myself. I'm Luke. I'm a product specialist at Vectorworks. I'm an architect as well. And I think I have a couple of my coworker here, Neil and Jim, who are from Vectorworks too, product specialists. And I'm happy to be here to answer questions. So hopefully this presentation will be very interactive. You can interrupt me at any time. I just don't want to be the only one who talks for this whole time. But so for you, so James, you said you've been using the cloud. Can you tell me maybe a little bit more on how you're using it?
Mostly I was using it to put up 3D models for clients to look at.
So web view sort of thing? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
When they had a hiccup with that, I hosted on my own server, but I thought it was pretty good for what it does.
Okay. And how many of you are actually using the rendering in Vectorworks?
Yeah.
A little bit, yes. So, so there's a lot of benefits here with the cloud services because you can process those types of renderings into the cloud, so that way you don't have to take the power of your computer. You can just send it and process it through the cloud. So that's another big plus. We're going to go through all of the features, but I'm just kind of throwing stuff here at you. And then we have Francine that just showed up here, who's also on the Vectorworks team.
Hi, everybody. I know some of you, I'm sorry I don't have my camera on, but great to be here with you because we can't be at BSA space.
See you, Francine, virtually. Not to see you, but hear you.
So so I shared my screen. Everybody can see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very good. So, can I hide this? Yeah. No, how do I move this? I just want to move that somewhere. Somewhere here. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just setting up the screen. Okay, so the presentation today is about Vectorworks Cloud Services, and it's an overview of all of the features that we have between our different applications, whether it's through web or mobile applications. So we're going to go through all of those. And what you're going to see, what you see here on the screen is actually a presentation that was created in the cloud, in Vectorworks Cloud. So we have a feature that's called the presentation features, and it allows you to create presentations or virtual tours of a building. And you can actually take those links and share them with your clients or your consultants or whoever is collaborating with you on different projects. So this presentation will show you the presentation feature on its as a feature here. But I'm going to start the presentation, and you're going to see here. I'm just using some of the controls that we have. So next slides and full screen or stop button, things like that. But actually, I'm just going to turn off the full screen and just do it regular. You can also control your slides with the arrows on your keyboard. So here it is. So the product suite, we talked about that. We have the desktop application, which is essentially a web browser integration here. You can also integrate that, or you can connect that directly with the Vectorworks within the cloud menu in Vectorworks. And you can also we also have the Nomad mobile application, which is the application on your phone. So it allows you to see all of your files, and there's actually features in the mobile app, the Nomad app, that are not necessarily available through the web portal. So let's start with the cloud storage. We have, how many of you are you all on VSS pretty much, or do you just have a license? So if you're on VSS, you have 20 gigabyte of storage available. And then if you're not on VSS, you have 2 gigabytes of storage available. But the good thing is you can integrate your Vectorworks cloud storage with your Dropbox. So, and so that way you can expand a little bit your, the size of your storage here. So you can upload different file versions, and it will keep track of those file versions directly in the cloud. And you can also integrate with Google Drive. So I talked a little bit about the processing. We did talk about the web view a little bit earlier. So the cloud service will process PDFs. So you can actually auto process a set of drawing from a Vectorworks file that is stored on the cloud. You can also, from the Vectorworks file, generate 3D models. So you can generate those 3D models and share those. So it's similar to what, I can't remember your name, but that's what we talked about before. We can generate and view. So on the mobile app, you'll be able to view a Vectorworks model directly, and then you can also generate a VGX model, which is a web view model that can also be viewed. There's a generate 3D models from photos that you can do, and then there's a machine learning based processing that is probably one of the most recent feature in the cloud that was launched with 2020 SP3. So from Vectorworks, you will be able to publish to the cloud. You will be able to export rendered panoramas. You will be able to export web view, what we talked about a little bit before. And you can also export animations and have the cloud process the rendering of the animation. And that also includes the 360-degree walkthrough animation, which is a new feature of 2020. That allows you to play a video, but also take the mouse and move in a 360 fashion as you're moving through the path. The Vectorworks Nomad, in addition to that, Vectorworks Nomad will allow you to do measurements. So you're going to be able to, with your camera, you're going to be able to click different points and generate a Vectorworks files or a Vectorworks file from it. So let's talk a little bit about generate PDF. We have here an example, and this is each time that I'm going to click on these little links, this is a feature in the presentations itself where you can link and put different images. So when you click on this icon, then you open the PDF. So this is a PDF set of drawing sample that when you click on it, it opens a window, and then you can browse through and visualize the drawings. So the 3D model generation, the VGX file, which is the web view. This is an example here where I click on the icon and it generates and opens the 3D model, and then you can actually rotate around the model. You can do walkthrough. There's also a clip cube. You can move the clip cube in the web, and then you can continue viewing your model as you wish. the with the phone or iPad and Nomad, when you have a 3D model, you will have the option of viewing the model in augmented reality. So the AR in Nomad means that you're going to be able to upload that 3D model, and then you're going to try to find a surface. So this is an example here of a Vectorworks 3D model here with an arrangement of furniture. And you're going to upload that to the cloud and open it in the AR feature. And with the camera that you see there, you're going to find a surface, and you're able to visualize, once you select the surface, you're able to visualize the 3D model in real space. So with the camera, the help of the camera, then you can pinch and zoom in and out of that 3D model, and you can visualize in a space what a change of the space would be, or how you would create different layouts of furniture and things like that. So that's actually a pretty cool little feature. And even for a full building model, you can put it on a table during a presentation. You can send the link of that model to everybody. They can take their phone around the table, and then they can just look AR or AR on their phone and then rotate the model on their own. A great little tool. So here is the view of the 3D VGX file. Well, we already kind of saw that here, so I can skip that. And then when you have a Vectorworks file and you're viewing the Vectorworks file, there's little differences here, because when you're opening the Vectorworks file on your phone or on the mobile app, you will have access to the design layers and all of the saved views of your model. So, and even RenderWorks camera. So you'll be able to browse through different things from that Vectorworks file directly on the phone. So I'm going through different settings here, and then this is the same model as before, where you can view the model. Okay. Any questions so far? Photos to 3D model. This is a cool little feature. You can actually take a series of photos and process those pictures and create a point cloud model. And the Vectorworks cloud is actually processing the point cloud model. You can also, it will generate a surface. It will generate a mesh model as well, but the mesh model, depending on the complexity of what the photo is, the mesh model could be potentially not too reliable. But it will give you a point cloud model. This is an example here of a small little house. We also use an example of, if you're doing a lot of historical preservation, and you have a lot of architectural detail on a facade, for example, or something like that, you could always use that feature to generate a small 3D model of a detail, and then you can use that in your Vectorworks file.
How many photos do you need to make a model?
That's a very good question. I mean, I guess it depends of the complexity of the surface that you're trying to do. I mean, here you see like a bunch of, I don't know how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so there's a bunch here. That's a good question, Brian. I don't have that answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I can follow up with you on that. So the publish to the cloud is a function directly in Vectorworks that you can actually, well, actually you can generate a set of drawing, PDF set of drawing directly from the cloud and have the cloud process those. But you can also, from Vectorworks, publish to the cloud, which, are you guys familiar with the publish command in Vectorworks? Okay. So when you use the publish, you have a function in the interface of the dialog box here in Vectorworks. You have the choice here to select the store and process on Vectorworks Cloud, or store on the Dropbox and process on Vectorworks Cloud. So you need to have that integration of Vectorworks and Dropbox in order to do that. But the tricky part here is that the Vectorworks file needs to be also located on the cloud in order to have access to the processing directly from Vectorworks.
Quick question, Luke. What is the advantage of doing publishing and processing it in the cloud instead of on my computer?
Well, if your file is stored on a cloud and you're working from the cloud instead of your hard drive or a server, then you can do it directly there. So it doesn't take the space.
Okay.
Right, and it doesn't take the processing power of your computer because it's going to be done on the cloud.
Okay.
So there's no wait time when you're working. And that's the advantage of doing the processing directly on the cloud, is that it doesn't take the power out of your machine. So you can do other things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, I'm gonna close this. So the export panorama is an export in the menu in Vectorworks, and it generates from a viewpoint, a camera in Vectorworks model, in your Vectorworks model, it generates a 360 view. And the rendering right now what you see on the screen is simply the image of the 360, which is not really useful. But when you're actually viewing it through the cloud, then it actually puts yourself in the space, and you're able, with the mouse, you're able to move around and visualize the space. How many of you tried that feature of 360 Pano?
Yes, I have.
So that's actually a really cool feature. Like the 360 Pano will render at any type of, or any level of rendering that you would have in Vectorworks. So you have all the way through final quality RenderWorks. Custom RenderWorks is probably better because you can control better the amount, the detail, the level of detail, and the options for the rendering. But this is a pretty good example of the quality that you can get. And so the panorama, when you're on your Nomad, on your phone and Nomad app, you will be able to see the 360. So you're going to move the phone like this. Like you see a lot of people doing that a lot of time now. So you're going to be able to just visualize that with your phone, or you're going to be able to do it in a VR, virtual reality mode, which allows you to split the screen, put it in a cardboard viewer or on a device where you'll be able to actually see in real time and move around with the goggle, cardboard goggle device. So from Vectorworks, the export web view is simply the selection of the export web view. When you do it directly from Vectorworks, you have different options. You have the ability to upload your logo if you want. And so when you export that 3D model and share the link, then your client can see that it comes from you. Or so if you wanted to make it more kind of a presentation style, you can customize those models and the way people see that. So export web view to Vectorworks Cloud Storage, and so this is what it will look like. So you open that. We saw a little bit that window before, but it gives you the ability to go around the model, zoom in, zoom out, walk through, and so on.
And you can section it as well, right?
Yes, so the clip cube is, yeah, the clip cube is right here. So this is another, the clip cube is, that's a pretty cool feature as well. Oops. Click and push. Yeah, there's different controls here. You can go and change the walking speed. And so I hope I'm not making you too dizzy looking and clicking around here, the models. Sometimes it could be a little bit dizzy, but you can select different shadows and lighting and control that a little bit. Might be a little dark here, but you can say, okay, I want you to be able to go through, you know, the walls. But there you go.
Can I ask you what software you have to get to access all these?
Are you a Vectorworks user?
Yes.
So that's all you need.
Oh, so it's included in the,
Yes. Are you a VSS member? Are you a VSS subscriber? Vectorworks?
no.
You're
no.
not Vectorworks Service Select. Okay. You still have access to the cloud. You have less storage in the VSS, but you still have storage. You have two gigabyte of storage. You just need to create an account. It's Vectorworks. It's cloud.vectorworks.net. And if you probably already have an account with Vectorworks, so you're going to use the same login, username and password, and then you're going to create your cloud account. And so you can do that from the website, and then you can integrate that into Vectorworks. I'll show you later a little bit what it looks like in Vectorworks.
Cool.
So when you're in Vectorworks and you do the create the movie, so when you're using the movie feature, the walkthrough animation movie, instead of processing it on a local computer, you can process the animation on the cloud. So it will just take the power, you will just keep the power of your computer running while the cloud is busy calculating the views. So here is a walkthrough animation that was created on the cloud. And I can't remember which one that is. Yeah, so that's, so I don't know if you, I have a better example later, but essentially what it does is it allows you to do the 360 as the path is calculated. And you can see that there's various level of quality. So this was a very quick and dirty example that was created where the resolution is not super nice, but I have examples at the end that I will show you that is much better than this. So increasing resolution, so upsampling of images on the cloud. So that's a newer feature where if you have any images, so that I'm talking about, it doesn't have to be a rendering that's generated by Vectorworks. If you have an image that you find on the web, it's a low resolution image, but you want to have it a better quality for a presentation that you're creating, you can process and upsample that lower resolution image to a higher quality. So this is an example of what a before and after of an upsampling image. So this is the before, this is the after, and that was a 2 times better. But you can also increase the quality by, you know, scaling up by 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times. So depending on the size of the image, of the original image, then obviously it will create a bigger file, but it will also give you a better quality image at the end.
Is this any image file, a JPEG? Is it?
Any image file, yes. So you just upload the image on the cloud, and then you just create, upsample the image. And it's the same thing for a stylized image. Stylized image can be applied, a style image can be applied to any image you're uploading to the cloud. And I'll show you an example later, but here, the stylized image is processed through the cloud, and you can apply different artistic styles. And those artistic styles are, they were trained in Vectorworks to create. So we used art from famous artists or illustrations that we found found compelling for an architect, but we trained those styles to create those image that you see here. And so as an example here is that we have a Vectorworks model that was purely 3D modeled in Vectorworks, and then we use the Van Gogh, Starry Night Van Gogh painting, and we trained that style to create a style in Vectorworks. And then the example of the model, when you apply that style to the model, to the image of the model, then it creates this rendering that you see at the bottom. I have a couple of examples I want to show you too after the slideshow. The measure tool in the mobile app in Nomad on the phone will also allow you to create from the camera. You will be able to stand in a room and create a, you're going to click some points and it will create the perimeter of a room, for example. So here it's a very kind of rough example, little movie that we did where we click the four corners of the room, and once the four corners are selected, then you're going to assign the height of it. You can do either a manual entry for the height, or you can also use the AR feature for the height. And once it's completed, it will generate a Vectorworks file. And what you get in Vectorworks, what you see here is 4 walls that are generated from that. And you can see that the height and the length of the walls correspond to what you detected with the phone. So it's using the GPS and the camera to really detect where those corners are. The precision, is the precision good? I don't know. You probably have to be conscious of that, but it depends on what type of work you're doing. But if you're, just want to show like a very quick idea of what a space would look like, that might be a good tool for you.
Can you stitch rooms together, or is it just room by room it would do that?
It's GPS, so, but I don't think that it would process necessarily the intersection of the walls per se, so there might be some cleanup to do. I don't know if you guys, any of you guys are using Bluebeam. Not really. Okay, so Bluebeam is a PDF marker reviewer. So Bluebeam Studio is the full version of Bluebeam where you can upload. It's like Adobe Acrobat Pro, if you will, where you can actually mark and review shop drawings and markup drawings and things like that. So you can collaborate real time with a PDF. You can mark up the PDF. And you can exchange those during like a Bluebeam session. And a Bluebeam session is a live session that you're actually having the PDF open at the same time remotely on the computer. And you can see like all of the people actually adding the bubbles and the notes and things like that. But anyway, so Vectorworks Cloud has an integration with Bluebeam Studio, where if you're processing your PDF in Vectorworks Cloud, then this integration allows you to open that PDF in Bluebeam directly through their Bluebeam Studio. And so there's no other step to take for somebody who uses Bluebeam, because then the markup is happening in Bluebeam, and then the file is automatically updated in the cloud. So from there, you can take those red marks and then make the changes that are necessary in Vectorworks.
Quick question on the Bluebeam. Is that a total different software?
Yes.
So you purchase the separate software Bluebeam, and everyone you want to collaborate with needs to have that, the license for that, but it's pretty good integratable to work with Vectorworks. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Okay.
Yes. Well, it's integrated with the cloud, so it kind of like allows you to take that. Bluebeam is, I mean, I don't know it in a lot of depth necessarily, but I used Acrobat. Well, before I started working at Vectorworks, I was doing, you know, like what you guys are doing. Because I was working in an architect office, and we used Acrobat Pro to red mark shop drawings. Everything was electronic. But beyond that, Bluebeam also allows you to notify. So if there's a review, for example, you can exchange communication and notifications between a team member, and then you can make sure that everybody's accountable to make the changes that are required. So it's a little bit more than Acrobat Pro, but it's similar in some ways.
Okay, thank you.
Something to look into if you're interested.
Thanks.
So the sharing so when you're in the cloud, you can share. So we talked about being able to share a link of a 3D model, VGX model that we talked about earlier. You can actually share private, so there's a share function and there's a link function. So you can actually share between Vectorworks accounts, and then you can also link and send those links to the public. And when you send a link of a file, the file will be viewable by them, but they're not going to be able to modify anything, right? So it's a simple way. So you can send a link for a PDF, you can send links to 3D models, so you can do all sorts of things with the cloud. I'll show you that. So I mentioned earlier the cloud presentations, the board, the presentation I'm doing right now is a presentation on its own. You can create boards, you can create tours, you can share those presentations with people that don't have a Vectorworks account. So they can view the presentation, they can view the linked panorama. So I'm gonna give you a tour sample here. I'm gonna skip the board sample because that movie is a little bit long, and you know, it's just showing too much detail on how you do the board. But for the tour sample here, you can see that when I click on that, it's a hyperlink and it's opening it into a different window. And a tour is essentially a series of 360 panorama views that you can actually connect together. So here I'm in the courtyard of this building, and I can move my mouse around like this. And when I see a little dot, that means I can go to that space. So if I want to jump to the kitchen, I click on this dot, and here I'm in the kitchen with the fridge in front of me and the kitchen here. And so if I want to go and change my vantage point, I go here, and now I have a different view of my building. So that's, if you're using these features in Vectorworks, you can, within the cloud, you can compose all of these renderings, 3D60 panorama renderings, and then you can connect those together through the tour feature of the cloud. So I think I went through. Oh, the other thing with the tour or the presentation, they can also be embedded in other websites. So if you're creating something and you want to have it on your website, you can also embed those stores in the website. So through the cloud, you can also exchange comments. So you can write comments in the right column of the web viewer, and then you can just exchange communications that way. You can do the same thing with presentation slides. The measure PDF files in Nomad, so it's only with the phone, but when you have a PDF in Nomad, and so you're on a construction site, for example, you have your construction documents in PDF, and then you can go there. If there's an issue or something, you can take the measure tool, you click the 2 points, you can verify dimensions. So that's only for top-land view viewports in Vectorworks. So any PDF that have the top-land view viewports, then you can also, you will have access to the measure tool. And by the way, yeah, there's a little bit of a marking tool here. You can also do angled dimensions, and you can also do like a perimeter calculation. So you can do multiple click, it will give you the total distance. And this is the little marker tool. So the pen, you can actually create annotations. You can draw freehand drawing here. You can put text blocks, square, circle, lines, things like that. So you can red mark directly your PDF directly here in the Nomad application. Okay. Anybody knows about Vectorworks Remote? We do have a remote app which allows you to control your 3D model in Vectorworks from your phone. So let's say you have a 3D model up, you're in front of a client, you're sitting in the back of the room, but your computer is in front because the screen is close and you didn't have the distance, so you can connect your phone through the remote, and you can control your computer, or you can control your model in Vectorworks with the phone through the different classes, view, sheet layers, design layers, walkthrough, and things like that. So I want to show you a little bit what it looks like, but I can't do that in here in this presentation. Any questions on this overall overview of the features of the Vectorworks Cloud Services?
No, this is a great set of tools that I'm sure a lot of people aren't aware of. So it's great to see it all in action.
It's actually fabulous, all these things, but is there also a possibility to use this if the, let's say it's a client somewhere else, if they don't have Vectorworks as a program?
So I can send you, I can send you a link, but the way to do that is, so I wanted to finish this by showing you a few examples, more kind of like in a real environment here. This is my this is the website, the Vectorworks Cloud Services website. This is my portal, so it's my space. You can see my username. And this is all of the files that I have in my cloud storage, okay? And so when you're processing something from Vectorworks, you send it to the cloud, these are the files that you see. And I wanted to show you like very similar, I don't know if you're familiar with Dropbox, but Dropbox is very similar to that. You can see on the Finder, I don't know if you're a Mac user or a PC user, but this is a Mac environment. Here you have Dropbox, and then you have Vectorworks Cloud Services. So you can see all of the files directly from my desktop, all of the files that are located in my cloud. So I can control that from my desktop in the Finder, or I can see them here in the web browser. So when I'm in the web browser, what I can do, you can see this little link icon on the right-hand side. And so that means this is a link that was generated and sent to somebody. And you don't need Vectorworks or Vectorworks Cloud to see those files. Those files are going to open on the web browser, but you don't need the account to see them. So for your question about can a client see the files? Yes, they can. You just need to send the link of that file to them. So as an example here, what I can do is I'm going to go to my commercial demo, and I have the PDF. Oh, I already link it and send a link to myself, but I can send a link to somebody. But let's say I want to link the VGX, right? So it's the web view format. It's a 3D model. And if I right click on that, I can share link. So when I share link, then I can say, okay, I want to add this file. And I can also set an expiration date for that share link. So if you want to send that to your client, you say you have 5 days to see this. After that, I already made too many changes in the design and that link is not valid, right? So you can just do that here. You set the date and then you can send an email and say, I don't know, something is not allowing me. Oh yeah, okay, I can type. So I don't have your email, but I can just type my personal email here and write a note and then send that. And then what I get on my phone is an email with a link which opens that into the web browser. The shared, yes, go ahead.
How safe is the Vectorworks cloud?
How safe? I don't have the details, but I mean, we have to meet requirements for those types of technologies. So I'm not worried about the safety of those files. What I can say is that the servers are located in our offices, so they're just as safe as that, right? So they're located in our office. We have the control over them, so we're not using a third-party sort of storage space. Everything is in our office.
I'm just wondering whether it's a good idea to use this cloud as you know, the main backup.
I wouldn't recommend that to use as a backup.
Okay.
I would recommend it to be used as really being able to share and collaborate with people, but at some point you should, I mean, depending of the amount of storage you have also, you're gonna have to clean it up on a regular basis.
Okay.
Okay, so here's a couple of things here that I wanted to show in my environment here. I'm just gonna go home here, okay. There was a couple of things that I mentioned earlier. So the stylized image. So this is a rendered image that I found on the internet. I uploaded that to Vectorworks, to the cloud. So you can just click, you see that little button here, upload file. If you click on that, then you have access to all of your files. You can upload whatever you want. So I selected that image, it showed up here. And then when you right click on this image, you can select stylize image. And then when you do that, you can either overwrite the original file or you can save it as a new file. And then here you have the selection of the styles that you want to create. So I'm just going to do a watercolor style for this one. And I click done, and then it's just going into, see, like one job submitted, it's going into my processing feed, and you can see that this file is now queued for processing on the cloud. So it's going to take a few minutes. It's just going to do its thing, and then you can get you're getting a notification when it's complete. So here's a copy, here's an example of one style that I created this image. And the other example is, number 9, not 7. This is the other styled image that was created from that image that I uploaded. So you can see here, you can add your integrations on the left-hand side, Dropbox integration or Bluebeam integration. So all of that is available through the web. And then on in the Vectorworks environment, you can see that there's a cloud menu, and you can actually go and access the settings. You can see the status of your files that are processing. So you can see that the job is queued. It's still calculating. So we'll wait and see what happens. And I can close this. The web, so the export to export web view. Okay, so I was looking at that. I was looking for that. Export to web view. So this is what we talked about in the presentation. This is where you access it in Vectorworks. And the 360 panorama. Oh, there you go. Export panorama. So that's another, that's the 360 views of your model that you're going to export from the export menu. And then for the publish is the publish function here. And you're going to store, you're going to select the option here, store on cloud when you publish. So you can select here the PDF or the sheet that you want to publish, and it will create a PDF. And then the movie. So if you go to create animation, animation from walkthrough from save views. There's no save views. I was going to say, like, I don't know. I didn't try that, but model, create animation, orbit path. Okay, so this one is not allowing me to do that. Okay. So anyway, those are the different options here that you have in Vectorworks. I'm trying to think if I have anything else I wanted to show you here. So I can see that this is still processing. It's generating the file right now. It's not just queued. Oh yeah, no, I wanted to show you another thing. And so that's another example here of a presentation that we created. So it has a better quality to it. This was done by Luis Ruiz, who's one of the product specialists for architecture. And he is very passionate about renderings and animations and things like that. So these are two examples. One is the tour. So if I go to the virtual tour of this office, you can see that I have the different link panorama. I can jump from space to space to look at the different image. You can see the rendering style of this panorama is a little bit different. So it's using a different type of rendering. But I can jump then here to the second floor and look at the office spaces up above and go back to the lobby. And now I'm going to go to the treatment rooms. So there you go. So this is a link panorama that allows you to create virtual tours, things like that. And I'm going to stop this one. And this is an example of a board that was created in the cloud. And so the board, similar to what we had before, you have those icons where, you know, if you send that presentation board to a client, they're going to open that, they'll see those little buttons, and then you're just going to be able to click, they will be able to click the buttons and then see all of the files that you attach to those hyperlinks. You can browse the PDF. You can play animation. You can view different renderings. So this is just a still rendering that you have. So this is an example of the 360 animation. So the 360 animation, when I start playing, you're going to see the camera moving in a direction of the path. And I'm not going to touch the mouse, anything like this. This is just calculated from Vectorworks. But if I want to move the mouse and turn, I can turn my view and move around. So this is a shorter animation here. So I'm just going to do that again. Now I'm moving the mouse and I can rotate. This kind of could potentially make you dizzy. I hope you're not eating dinner. But so that's kind of like an example of that 360 animation that you can save and calculate on the cloud. And I'm going to stop this. So yeah, I'm pretty much, I pretty much went around those features. I don't know if you guys have questions. Maybe we can, I can try to answer right now.
Could you insert again the furniture to an existing space?
In the cloud?
Yeah, you showed what the furniture.
Oh, the AR. I can play that, and it's a little bit hard to demo like online, but because you need the phone for that.
I see.
So you want me to show that same video again?
Yes.
That was early, right?
Yes. Maybe the third panel, maybe.
So AR, so augmented reality,
Oh.
and so I'm gonna play this again. Turn the sound off. So when you have a 3D model, so right now here, we have the full 3D model, but we selected only the layer with the furniture for this demo. And so when you have the layer of the furniture here, with your camera, you're gonna detect the surface. It has to be a regular surface, and then you click on that, and then the model will be loaded, and you're able to zoom in and out with the pinch movement of the fingers on the screen. And then you can see that 3D model in a space. And so it allows you to walk with your phone and walk around the space and see, even though it's not there, you can walk yourself, you can walk with your phone and see how the layout would feel walking in the space, right? So, and that's quite short as a video here, but that's, you can do that with any type of 3D model. You can do it outside on the site if you want, and then you just, pop the model and then you zoom in, you zoom out, and then you can see the model real life, and you can actually walk through
And
the model with your phone.
you scale the whatever you put in.
The scale is controlled by the zoom in and out movement on the phone. So you can make the model bigger or smaller.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, these are all amazing features.
Yeah, I mean, we have a cloud team that developed all of these tools, and there's constant improvements to those. And so, just the amount of features that we have, there's a lot of them. So you may want to start with a couple of them, right? Try to experiment with AR or web export or web view. That might be one thing, or share your PDF and write some notes, especially today when you're working remotely, everybody's at home. That might be a good way to to exchange information and communication during, the review process of your projects if you're working with other people. So we all have already a process in place, right? So you're using, email or something, you're sending the files, somebody uses preview for red marking, which is not ideal, but you can use Acrobat, you can use preview, you can use different tools to red mark. But that's an option here as well.
So these seem all, worse. Each of these features could be a presentation by themselves.
Oh, you mean like we can expand? Yes, I mean there's a lot to learn. Obviously, I would say probably the most the feature that you would probably spend a little bit more time to learn how to use is probably the presentation feature, how to put the slideshow together. You have access to different tools, but you're not limited. You can put your own fonts on there. You can use your own fonts if you want. It's just a matter of learning the interface and where the tools are as you are typing the text, importing the images and those types of things. So that would probably be the feature that would take the most time to learn. The rest is really just file processing and, learning of what the features are and how to use them. Like, how do you share the link? How do you, put comments on the page or things like that. So those are more or less difficult to learn because they're more common with other tools.
That's the biggest advantage is, the time saved when you're publishing to the cloud that, something that would tie up your machine for hours on end. It's only takes seconds to say to publish it to the cloud, but you don't sit there waiting and waiting and waiting. That's, to me, and just the cloud processing, especially something like photorealistic, 20 sheets of photorealistic page, that's just a tremendous time, and it's something that you can track instead of just publishing it all overnight on your local machine and waking up the next morning and hoping, something didn't happen. The cloud, you're really able to monitor it and see if there's any problems with it.
Totally.
One of the things that I love is the remote. I can't get away from the remote.
Oh, that's what I forgot.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I knew I was forgetting something.
The remote is, you can do the walkthroughs and your phone becomes your stylist and you just walk around.
So I have my phone. You can see my phone. Actually, I have the remote app. So it's a separate application on the phone. It's not the Nomad. It's the remote app. And when you load the app, you've got like this little thing with a barcode or a QR code. And so when you're in Vectorworks, you can connect that through tools, utilities, and Vectorworks remote. And so you have that little window here and you want to start the sharing here. So you click start sharing or start server. I don't know why it says that. So there's the QR code. So now I'm clicking on the phone and it's going to use the camera. And now I'm matched with Vectorworks. So what I have, I don't know if I can see. So what I have on my phone is access to my save views, different modes, all of my save views, sheet layers, and so on. So now I'm using my phone only, and what you see on the screen, I'm gonna do a flyover. And I'm gonna start with a right ISO. And now I'm just moving my finger on my phone. I can rotate my model. I can zoom in and out, pinching the phone. Then I can go to my menu And I'm going to select a sheet layer, and I'm going to select the first floor plan, and there is my first floor plan. And now I want to so I don't use it enough. But how do I do this? Top plan view. I was hoping that I can zoom in and out of that save view, but anyway, so maybe it's a resolution issue. But so this is how you would just access that here. Design layer. Second floor layout. Now I'm back to my design view, so that's good.
So you can turn the roof off and look down into space. And then if your layer control.
I'm sorry?
So you can turn off the roof layer and look down in your model.
Yeah, I see. I didn't practice enough with this.
My favorite still at the walkthrough is just, you know, being able to just use your thumb to just navigate right through.
Right. So now I'm just hiding the different layers, right? So I'm just going down the list, and so that's makes it a little bit better. Yeah, I have to go back to the fly through view in order to go back to my screen, because I need the white pad on my screen to be able to move my finger. So anyway, I thought it was kind of like a funny little thing here that you can do. You can look into that. You can download those apps in the App Store, and then, you know, just log into your account.
Do you have a board set up that has like the plan with links to the views?
You mean like from the PDF?
Oh, yeah, well, I guess, yeah. How Louise set up those links in there. Could you just briefly discuss how links are created?
Oh, how to create those links.
Or is it a little more involved?
Okay, yeah, I mean, I can play that little video here for you. This one.
That's right, it's a board sample.
That's the board sample, and I'm gonna move this window now. Oops. Create a presentation, and then construct a tour. So let's see how construct a tour works. So once you generated all of your 360 panorama, so those are just image files. Now you're going to create a new tour, and then you can select those 360 panorama, load them into the tour, and you're going to see at the bottom like the 4 panoramas that are brought in. And then what you do is you drag and drop the ones that you want to link into the first one, and it will put that little dot on it. So that's fairly easy when you think about it. Now, if you want to create a key plan, for example, you can also upload a key plan, and then you can also drag and drop the same link panorama onto that key plan to with the location. So that way you can either click on the dots from each 360 panorama, or you can also use the key plan to jump from one to another. You're going to see that here where you're in the 360 and you can see the key plan showing up on the top left corner. You can resize it, and you can jump from space to space, either way from the 360 or from the key plan. So it's actually like, those are pretty easy to do. Like the tour itself is pretty easy. You just need to have the 360 panorama to be created before you do the tour.
Mhm.
The board presentation is similar to this. It's simply uploading the files that you want for your presentation, and then you just assemble them together into the interface.
Now, do those link and update? So if you're going through your process and you have your board set up and you just make some revisions to those links.
No, they're not live
They're not live.
necessarily. But you own your presentation on your cloud, so you can send the link to somebody. And if you update the presentation on your own, like, so let's say you're replacing an image, or you updated a floor plan and you want to replace that in the presentation, you do that in your cloud. The link is already created. You don't need to recreate another link. So the next time the person that goes will see the update.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really need to. The link is live with the presentation. So when you yourself update that presentation, it will be connected. Yes.
Okay.
So that's, in some ways, yes, it updates in that sense, but it doesn't necessarily update until you're physically going and modifying that presentation.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Luke, I had a question. On when you do a panorama, there is 3 files that are connected to those. There's an HTML, there's the JavaScript, and there's the JPEG. If the JPEG's all by itself, it obviously has that very strange fisheye look to it. If those get separated, do you know, is there any way to get those? Once I usually download them all together and leave them in a folder all together. But if one of those gets misplaced, is there any way to regenerate that from the cloud? Have you ever heard of that one?
Well, I don't know specifically, but what I can tell you is that the clouds and the tours, they're embedded into your cloud. So even if you download them, it's not going to do any good to you.
With the panoramas, I've tried.
The panorama is okay. The panorama, because
Yeah.
they're a separate file, you can separate them.
Exactly. But the
But
Java,
so when you look at the panorama file on their own,
yeah, it has that fisheye.
it has that sort of weird thing. You need to view those into a tool that will allow you to see it in 360. The cloud services in Vectorworks, when you open that, it shows it in 360. So you need to have the cloud in the background to do that, to see it correctly. And there are other tools that you can do that. But I don't know if you can just simply upload like a 360 to any tool out there. I'm not sure.
If you take the 3 files all together and put them in a folder and open that from the web browser, it does work.
Okay. Yes, it will work in a web browser. Yes. Right, but it's still in the web browser through the cloud.
Oh, is it? So it.
Yeah. So here, if I'm going to my panorama folder, when I click on this, what you see, the thumbnail are all weird. But when I click on that JPEG, it opens it and it generates that 360.
So the JavaScript is actually enabling the cloud, regardless of where those 3 files are, it's still going back through the cloud. I never realized that before. Thanks.
Yep.
That was a fun room.
Do you remember that
Very well.
the VIP event?
That was awesome.
Some part of it.
Yeah.
What was that? Oh, that was the first design summit, right? Or the second?
That was
It was the first.
It was the first in Philly. Yeah.
The first design
that was
summit.
in Philly. In Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've got some blackmail pictures of Tom dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
With the hotel evacuation and everything, that was fun.
I remember the band was really good there too. They had a general cover band, and they were more than that. They were very entertaining.
Yeah, this is another panorama. So you see, like, Panorama, you just put that on the cloud, and so you don't need to create the tour for using the panorama. You can just use the panorama and then visualize the space. With the tour, what you can do is you can actually connect the other panoramas if you have more than one. Anybody are missing the Holiday Inn Express traveling?
No.
I have a question. I have a question about integration with Dropbox or Google Drive.
Okay.
Is the strategy there to sort of relieve some of the Vectorworks storage and place it on Dropbox or Google Drive, or is it just to have your same access to your file system that you'd have in Dropbox or Google Drive?
I don't know that answer. But yeah, I mean, like it does remove the, I mean, I guess my answer that I'm guessing is yes, it's to remove that storage, because I mean, you have a fairly limited amount of storage. Even if you're a VSS at 20 gig, it can go fast with rendering. So
Sure.
So if you're integrating with your Dropbox, so then that gives you that extra storage, so you can actually store the files there, but process things on the cloud in Vectorworks. Hi, Kitty.
Hi, Molly. She was making noise. Thank you.
I do that. I keep my Vectorworks backup assigned to my Dropbox folder. And then when it's synced, and then I just move things over from one place, and I don't have to go and take them from one place to another. So once they're synced, I don't have to worry about going over the allotted on the cloud storage.
Mm-hmm.
And then just easily change them over in a folder on Dropbox, and then use a ton of, because we have a massive amount of storage on Dropbox.
Right.
That's a great one.
Thank you.
Yeah. But that was what remember these, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have the goggles, goggles.
Yeah. I think that was from Philly. But that was what the panoramas look like when they're split up, and you just put that into the cardboard.
Yeah, so the phone looks like that, and then the screen is split, and then you slide that into the goggles, and then you can look at it in like here in this virtual reality mode.
I can't afford the good pair of Oculus yet.
Yeah. Well, we have a device for our trade shows, but all the trade shows are canceled. So.
So that's an advantage for us, because you can then have the time to make this presentation.
Well, on the presentation itself, the engineer who actually designed the presentation feature and the tour feature, she actually put that presentation together for us, explaining each of the little features that are available. And she's actually updating that on a regular basis. So each time there's an update, she goes there and change that. So that was very helpful. It's a very helpful tool for us, because we actually have a lot of demand. We have a lot of, we're really pushing the cloud way more than we used to, and because the demand is increasing, and especially today with the remote work and being able to collaborate, that's more important. So yeah, that's a very big plus for us. But we did cancel a lot of trade shows this year, but we also added a lot of training material online through the Vectorworks University. There's a lot of offerings out there. We're actually doing a virtual trade show booth starting June 16. So there's going to be like presentations, online presentations, demonstrations, presentations, and also there's some, I think there's a few AIA learning units presentations that we're going to have available. So there's a bunch of activities that we're putting together to to compensate for the trade shows. But the AIA trade show is probably our biggest show that we do. There's a few in Boston that we also do. Francine, I don't know if you're still there, but there's the ABX, I think, in the fall that we're usually part of, which is a pretty good show for us. So
Thank you very much.
Hey, Luke. Luke, while you're still on the site there, do you want to show the help area of cloud services? Because it has quite a lot of good information in there.
Sure. Where is the help area again?
Well, close that panoramic.
Oh yeah, I got to go home.
Just right up there in the, yeah.
There you go.
So it's not just a simple help area. There's quite a bit in there, and as Jim pointed out in the chat, there was the answer to how many photos you need to do one of those photos to 3D.
Okay, what is the answer, Neil?
Well, it's anywhere between 5 and 500, although 10 to 40 tends to be good for making a rough recreation.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for looking into that. Appreciate it. But yeah, so there you go. So that's a great resource for learning all of those features in the cloud. Thank you for pointing that out. That's it.
Yeah, they don't.
I did everything else today, but I didn't do the question mark button.
They don't put all this on in the help on the Vectorworks. Obviously, not everybody has it, so they separated it out here. I never knew it until I had to look up that from the generate 3D models from photos. So I looked it up real quick. I was curious how many photos you really needed.
Yeah, there's a lot of good info in there.
Hey, one of the other ones that I saw that comes into play with this, because it can be used with the 3D models. One of our tech support guys pointed out. It's called display.land, and it will generate with your phone. If you look up the website, it's really self-explanatory. You do have to start a little account. It is all free. It's open source. But to get some of these things into the cloud for any of the models from real world objects, it was awesome. Alexander Sagatov passed that along to us a couple of weeks ago, and the images were spectacular. What you have to have is something that has a lot of texture to it. If it's something that's just like, if it was theater and it was just covered in black duvetine or a black cloth, it wouldn't work. But if I did it with an Afghan my mom knitted me years and years ago, and it had all this super detail to it, and it was phenomenal for that. And then I tried the same thing with just a piece of a black towel over it, and it didn't work. But it's all for free, and it will come into Vectorworks as an OBJ file, and it's phenomenal for the detail it gets, and it's all free. So if anybody gets a chance, it's display.land. Really cool stuff.
Great.
And Luke, since you mentioned the university, can you just bring that up just to make people aware of it? I know you guys done a lot of work.
Yeah, you guys familiar with
last
University?
year.
Maybe like a year ago we launched this. So we have a great resources there. So if you go to University, Vectorworks University, university.vectorworks.net, and it should, you're going to use the same account, username and password as all of your other accounts in Vectorworks. So everything is integrated now. And so you're going to be in here, and this is the welcome page you have. You can filter by courses, by industry that you're in. So you can click on architect here, and then you're going to have access to a list or a grid of different courses that you can take. And this is this is, okay, so these are all of the courses here, but I can show you, this is just for Vectorworks Architect. If I remove that search, there's a lot of courses and materials that you can find on here that could be very helpful. And the good thing with this is that when you go to start a course, it will keep track of your progress in that course. So if it's like a 2 or 3 hour training, you're going to play. So some of them are videos. So some of them are more kind of guides that you're reading through. But each chapter you're going to see. So if I go and read the first chapter, it's going to go through the chapter. You're going to read through that, and you can see the progress that's happening. And then you continue, and it keeps track of all of the chapters you went through. So if you're in a big office, for example, and you want to make sure you have an onboarding of a new staff and things like that, you can actually select the courses that you want them to do, and you can actually follow the progress that they're doing into following the classes. So actually, it's a pretty good resource for that. And then you can exit the activity and then come back, and it will start again where you exited. So you can see resume. If you want to start again, you go there. And we have tons of getting started class videos, 2 hours, 1.5 hours, 2 hours. And then we also have, I don't know if you're familiar with workflow documents that we're writing. So the architect team are writing different workflow documents or guides for different things. So this one is BCF workflow. So it's very specific, but if you click on that, you can see what BCF means and what it is and how you can use it in Vectorworks. So, so it's a great resource. Thanks for bringing this up, Neil.
You can also get that directly from the help menu in Vectorworks, what used to be the getting started guides. If you click on that, it takes you directly to Vectorworks University as well.
Ah.
But you know, it's funny, of all the years of using this, I've been glued on the basics. I have been going over the basics over and over and over. And so many things that I didn't know all those years, those little simple tricks. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm not too proud. I'll go back, and I just keep reviewing those, and I've found so many time-saving methods.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea to see other people use the software and see how they use it, and you can catch like a few things and say, oh my God, I didn't know about that, you know.
Some of the most basic things I just skipped over because when I started, oh, no, I know software, and I jumped right to chapter 5, right? I forgot about chapters 1 through 4. And all those years and all the headaches I caused myself by just not going over chapters 1 and 2 properly. But great job, Luke. I got to cut out. And nice seeing you all again.
Before everyone cuts out, I wrote on the chat the link to get AIA credits, the CEU credits.
Oh, I was just myself. I have to leave, so I just want to say goodbye to everybody. But great job, Luke.
Bye, thanks for showing up. That's great.
And I apologize. I messed up my calendar last time. I signed up and I didn't make it. I apologize. Nice seeing you all again.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for coming.
Nice to meet you, buddy. I'm going to say goodbye too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
There's who's that? That's New Mexico, huh?
Yeah, still here. How you doing, Joe?
Not too bad, not too bad. And Benny had a great presentation last month.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that one.
Anyhow, good to see you all. Look forward to seeing you. You taking the summer off now?
Yeah, we'll take July and August off.
Okay. All right. See you in September.
If anybody has any good ideas for September kickoff.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
2021? No, that's too early.
No, yeah, it usually comes out in the middle of September. But I do have the new betas. I love it.
Yeah, the betas are out. So if you're a beta tester, beta 1 is out.
I don't know how to use this one.
Thank you, Luke. I saw you in the Space, the Final Frontier
Oh
presentation.
my goodness.
Yeah. It's always nice to meet people, and
Nice to meet
the
you.
virtual, I guess, as opposed to the video.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. Good to see you. Have a good summer.
You too.
Thank you.
Have a good
Adios.
one.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Luke. It was great.
All right. Well, you're very welcome. That was my pleasure. And you know how to reach me.
All right. You know
I have questions.
All right. Crack open that gen behind you.
Have a great summer, everyone.
You as well.
You too. You too.